Smoky palette. I also think they did... Ooh, sorry, Dolly. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be an updated how to pick a naked palette from Urban Decay. I made this video originally over a year ago and I discussed every single naked palette that I had at the time, which was the 1, 2, 3, and the basics. Now they've added the Smoky eye palette as well as the naked 2 basics. So I wanted to include that. Also, to this day, I get so many questions and comments on that video that I wanted to do an updated one that included which ones would complement which eye color. This way you might be able to pick out your palette a little bit better. Plus, I have changed my mind about some of these palettes in the last year. I just wanted to share with you my update review, and I hope you guys enjoy this video, so let's get started. I'm gonna start off with some of the palettes that I did not have in my previous video, and my first original video, which you'll see my opinion has definitely changed a lot in the past year. I will link in the cards above my head as well as in the description box below. If you'd also like to see in-depth detailed swatches, I will have a blog post going up to coordinate with this video later on in the day on my blog SereinWu.com, which I will link in the description box below as well. This is the Naked Smoky palette, and this is the newest palette in the Urban Decay Naked range. At first, I was hesitant about this palette because I thought it was so dark and so deep. How is this going to be versatile? After playing with it, I really do enjoy it. Like all of the other full-size Naked Urban Decay palettes, this comes with 12 eyeshadows. They're very pigmented. The quality is just as good as all the other Naked shadows. This is something that I would recommend for an add-on to any of your current Urban Decay Naked palettes. Even if you just have a basics and you're looking for a little bit more drama, this is a good option to consider purchasing. It is definitely on the cooler spectrum of the color wheel, and in that situation, if you're not that into cool toned eyeshadows, I would avoid this one. If you have gray eyes or gray blue eyes, I definitely recommend this palette because these have really beautiful silvery gray tones and cool tones to complement your gray eyes. I typically like to wear Dirty Sweet and Radar on a daily basis. I like to apply Dirty Sweet all over the lid and then Radar in my crease. It also has a nice cool toned beigey vanilla shade for the brow bone, and Combust and Whiskey are great matte crease shades. So you are able to create daytime looks as well as smoky evening time looks. It's just that it's on the cooler spectrum. Now, if you're only gonna buy one Naked palette, I don't know that this is the one I would suggest for you. This is definitely something I just think is a good add-on to a collection that you might already have of a lot of neutrals, and if you have warmer shades. And the packaging is really nice. It's very similar to all of the other Naked palettes, however it's a plastic with a little bit of a see-through smoky effect going through it, and it comes with a dual-ended brush as well. Moving into the Naked Basics 2. This is so adorable and cute. It has a very, very deep brown, and it has a little bit more pinkier shades and then some cooler crease shades or taupey brown shades. This is going to be something that I think will be more beneficial for you if you are on the fairer or lighter eyes in general, because it's not going to be as deep and dramatic. Personally, if you have brown eyes, hazel eyes, or gray eyes, go with the Naked Basics, which is the original Naked Basics palette. And you can just see, I'll open these up next to each other. Having these next to each other, the Basics original is just gonna be darker and deeper, whereas the 2 is going to be lighter, more muted, a little bit just taupier. Since we're talking about the Naked Basics 2, let's just talk about the Naked Basics original. I still feel that Urban Decay outdid themselves with the Naked Basics because this is universally flattering for everybody. The only reason I feel like you might get the 2 is if this dark black in Crave is just too dark for you, which means if you're like in high school or middle school and you're just getting into makeup and you're not going to use a black eyeshadow, then go with the Naked Basics 2. If you are just stuck and don't know what to get this one. But if you feel that this is just too much shadow for you to handle starting off, then try this. If you just really, really love very natural shades, try the Naked Basics 2. I just feel like everybody needs a dark matte black. You just need it. It's great for lining the eyes. It's great for deepening up the crease. You can mix it with other shades. Now I'm going to start from the beginning, which is starting off with the Naked Original. This was like the first one that came out from Urban Decay. It still has its original packaging, which is that velvety, like cardboard packaging. It's a smaller mirror, and then I only received a single-ended brush. I still haven't used this brush. It's been like over a year. I feel like the packaging could be improved at this point since it's been out for so long. However, this is by far my favorite Naked palette. And I know in the past I've said it was the Naked 2 and 3. This one is definitely my most reach for Naked palette out of all of them. And the reason being is mainly because of Buck and Half Baked. Half Baked and Buck just make the most beautiful golden warm smoky eye or natural everyday eye. I find myself using Naked and Buck a lot as my crease shade. I love using Half Baked all over the lid for that golden shimmer. I also really like using Dark Horse as an outer corner deepening color. It's shimmery, it's beautiful, it's also really pretty under the lash line. And at first I thought, wow, this palette is really cold because of these shades over here like Creep and Gunmetal and Toasted, and then Virgin is a very cool toned highlight shade, which I typically don't enjoy. I prefer a warmer highlight shade. However, because of Naked, Sidecar, Buck, Half Baked, Smog, and Dark Horse, I really do love this palette. I don't find myself using any of the cooler shades that often. I typically just enjoy wearing golden, warm brown eyeshadows on my eyes. I feel like it just flatters me the most. It pops open my eyes. It makes me look more awake and brighter. It's just my personal preference from the last year, and I really just have been loving this palette more so than any of the other ones. And I always recommend this one because you have that good mix of warm and cool toned colors. It's a really perfect mix of your cool darker tones and your warm middle tones, and then your cool lighter tones. But it's also very neutral with like Naked and Sin and Sidecar. So I just love it. This is so versatile. I love these middle tone shades. They're very perfect for daytime. You can also deepen them up to create a more dramatic look. Definitely you can use Creep on the corner, darken up any of the eyeshadows. Gunmetal is a really beautiful cool toned shadow to brighten up your hazel eyes if you have hazel eyes without going too dark and smoky. So love this palette. Now let's talk about Naked 2. Naked 2 was my most used palette and my favorite palette when I filmed this video a year ago. And since then, I kind of completely stopped using it and handed it off to a friend. I had to go pick it up because I wanted to make this video. And I'm looking at it now, and one of the shadows just fell out. It's brand new, and one of the shadows just fell out. So that's not good. Let's stick that back in there. Packaging, this is the first in its packaging where it becomes the aluminum packaging, and then of course the mirror becomes larger and you have the double-ended brush, which is a very high quality brush. This is going to be on the cooler spectrum, neutral pinky cooler spectrum of things. You still have some warm shades, you still have this beautiful Half Baked, which is gorgeous. It's very bright. The Naked 1 Half Baked is definitely a richer, warmer gold, whereas the Naked 2 Half Baked is kind of on the yellower side of the colors. They're named the same, but they're not the same. We've got a lot of nice, cooler, shimmery shades, but they're still very wearable, still very daytime. And of course, I love having Blackout because Blackout is a dark black matte that's very pigmented. It's gorgeous to go over any liquid liner, any gel liner, also to do a light black line or to deepen up any of your outer corners. So you have Blackout to kind of go with any of these to really deepen up any of the shadows. Okay, so the Naked 3 is their rose toned eyeshadow palette, and when I first got this, I was in love with it. I thought it was the coolest thing ever until I realized rose gold doesn't really look that great on me. Of course, I've learned a lot in the last year making all these videos for you guys and doing all this research. It's not that it doesn't look good on me, it's just not the most flattering look on myself. However, the Naked 3 would look gorgeous on blue eyes, green eyes, and just fairer complexions that have a neutral or cool undertone. The warm rosy shades will definitely complement your cooler or neutral undertones and lighter eyes. I feel like the rose tones will really make your blue eyes pop as well as your green eyes pop. It's just a gorgeous rose gold palette. Now, it's not necessarily something I would recommend for those of us with brown eyes for their everyday palette. This is, again, one of those things like the Smoky palette where I'm like, oh, it's a good palette to add to an already basics palette. And the reason I say that is because it's very on the pink and like muted purple side of things, which is why it would really complement your green eyes. So I wanted to give you some tips on what colors you might want to look for when picking out eyeshadows based on your eye color, because I know I get so many comments about that. So I wrote down some notes because I have brown eyes and I wear makeup for myself 99% of the time. I am going to let you guys know, first off, with brown eyes and my coloring, I know that grays, purples, and browns, warm browns, look the best on me. Brown eyes, they say you can wear anything that you want because of the fact that the brown is very versatile. We can go from cool to warm to neutral, which is true, but personal preference, I prefer to wear warmer browns, golds, and purples. Deep purples really make the brown pop, as well as silvers will make the little orange flecks in my brown eyes pop as well. Now, for blue eyes, you want to stick with light neutral tones. Avoid overly harsh smoky eyes because that can really drown out your beautiful blue eyes. And you want to go for coral and champagne, which is why I would recommend either the Naked Basics 2 and the Naked 3 with the rose gold tones, as well as the Naked 2 if you wanted something a little bit more neutral, would be beautiful for blue eyes. If you have gray eyes, you have a very beautiful, unique eye color, and you would want to stick with something a little bit sultry and smokier. You want to match your eye color with your shadows because that really pops open that natural, beautiful, unique color you have in your eyes, which is why I would recommend picking up the Smoky eye palette, because it is going to have a lot of those grayer tones to really go beautifully with your eye color. You want grays, silvery blues, things like that, and I think this is one of those times where I would recommend picking this up and focusing on this for gray eyes. If you have green eyes, you already have really beautiful bright eyes, so you don't want to do anything too crazy. Muted purples are going to look beautiful on you, as well as shimmery browns. So muted purples, I would recommend picking up the Naked 3 because these, even though they're rose gold and on the pinkier side, they're very muted purples towards the end of the spectrum, towards the darker shades. Like Nooner is almost a muted purple matte, and then you've got Liar, Factory, Mugshot, Dark Side, and Blackheart, which are very muted purples. The shimmery browns, I would recommend the Naked 1 because the whole middle of this palette has got all of those beautiful shimmery browns as well as matte browns. And yeah, so I think those would be really pretty for you. If you have hazel eyes, you want to focus on metallics and pastels. You want to avoid heavy smoky shadows because that tends to hide your beautiful eyes. And you are going to want to enhance the flecks of gold and browns. So I would recommend the Naked 3 because it definitely has a lot of shimmers. It's very light and pastel-ish. And I think this would look really beautiful against hazel eyes. It would also hopefully help bring out the little flecks of gold in your eyes. And the Naked 2, even though it's on the cooler side, I feel like there's a lot of metallics in the darker spectrum of things, and it's not too dark for you to overpower those eyes. Or the Naked Basics 2 because it is a little bit lighter, even though these are mattes, if you're just looking for a very good everyday kind of situation. If you have any questions about any of these palettes or specifically for yourself, I'll do my best to answer all of the questions like I have been in my original video. It is kind of hard though, so make sure you go to the store and kind of swatch things and play with it. See if they're colors that you actually might wear. And just because I say this is good for you or that this is what colors might work for your eye shape doesn't mean anything. Do you. Wear whatever is going to make you happy. Wear whatever palette you're drawn to naturally. Wear whatever the colors you feel like you're going to get the most use use out of, because once again, makeup is all about making yourself feel and look good. I know I put makeup on to feel and look good and feel and look more confident so that I can be more confident out there in the world. And that's what my channel is all about, helping you guys feel and look your best, because when you look your best and feel your best, you're able to put yourself out there and be your best self. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any specific swatch detail questions and things like that, make sure you follow my blog, SereinWu.com. It's always linked in the description box below. You can subscribe to it by email or by blog loving. I only send out updated summaries of what I've posted once a week on Sundays. I will have in-depth swatches of all of these palettes on my blog, SereinWu.com. I also feel like the in-depth swatches on there will help you guys a little bit better, because when you're shopping, you can look at them closer and you don't have to pull up this video for the swatches. If this is your first time to my channel, my name is Serein, and my channel name is called Dress Yourself Happy, because I really hope that my videos help motivate and inspire you to look and feel your best. I am getting over a cold, so please excuse my strained voice, and if I'm nasally or anything like that, I can't even hear myself right now. If you are new and you enjoy this video, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up or thumbs down if you did not find it helpful, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You can subscribe by clicking that subscribe button below this video, because you're probably watching on a mobile device or an iPad, and it would mean the world to me if you came back and watched my other videos. I upload Tuesday, Friday, and Sundays, and I will see you guys next time.